about, because when we go to the malls, we often see the signs: careful, remote jamming, be aware, make sure your vehicle is lost. And sometimes you think you have done everything, and lo and behold, you come back to your vehicle and you see perhaps something is missing, and you wonder how. How? Like, I just locked my vehicle, I stepped away, probably not even so long because you're taking your certain precautions. You come back and there's a shocker that you're getting. And of course, many a times it's very valuable stuff that's being taken. And of course, that's the reason why it's going to be stolen, because they know the value of what they've spotted. So chatting with us now, we are joined, if you want to join us, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram now, alhamdulillah. We have Richard Brussow, who has more than 20 years experience in violent crime investigation while being a detective in the SAPS. And during his time with the SAPS, he specialized in the investigation of hijacking syndicates and their modus operandi. In 1997, Richard was approached by BMW South Africa to develop a hijack prevention course and training material as well. BMW Advanced Driving came to light thereafter with Richard as a co-founder. And in 2001, Richard founded the NHPA and has since presented courses all over South Africa to enable motorists to prevent being hijacked and to demonstrate how to react during the attempted hijacking. Now, he's been on many platforms, many TV channels, many radio stations, alhamdulillah. It's wonderful to have Richard here with us on Urban Woman this morning. And he's also known as the hijacking expert. So let's chat with the hijacking expert and get some very valuable information. Good morning, Richard. Welcome to Urban Woman.
Good morning. I must say, you make me sound important. Stop it now. Morning.
Indeed you are. And you know, it's so sad when we look at the level of how crime is just constantly escalating at such a rapid pace. And you know, when back a few years ago, I would say, we would probably have the perception that Johannesburg, Pretoria had higher crime rate than KZN. Sorry, I started at UKZN. So KZN, and now it's very scary at what we are experiencing in KZN. It's scary, and especially as women moving around, we have to be vigilant, and many are experiencing these things. Now, remote jamming is what we're actually talking about today. Can you explain to us what car remote jamming is and how it works, and how common is car remote jamming? And also, are certain vehicles more susceptible to this than others?
Firstly, the listeners must remember, in South Africa, we've got one transmitting frequency, and that is 433 megahertz. Other countries utilize 433 and 315, but South Africa is 433. So every automated gate, every automated garage door, and every vehicle where there's a key involved, where you press a remote, the signal that gets sent out is on 433 megahertz. So what the robbers basically do is they want to disrupt the signal. They do not want the signal to reach your vehicle and send a message, unlock or lock the vehicle. And that's the problem we have. So you can imagine, end of the month, let's say a Saturday or a Sunday, at one of the large malls in KZN, how busy that frequency 433 megahertz becomes. And the more busier the frequency becomes, the easier to create a disruption and block the signal. So the car does not get the signal that's been sent from the remote to the vehicle.
Wow. I mean, our guys are just brilliant here. So what technologies do criminals actually use to execute the car remote jamming? And also, how does car remote jamming differ from your other kind of car thefts, you know, like key cloning or relay attacks?
What happens with the jamming is they'll either use a normal gate remote that transmits the signal. They'll use a two-way radio. Any device that transmits on the same frequency, 433 megahertz, as your vehicle. So what the robbers do is they watch you. So now the robber watches you. They look at your clothing. Let's say it's lunchtime or it's afternoon. Look at her clothing. But look at the time. It's 4 o'clock. So where's the laptop? It's in the boot. Now they try the jamming technique. But now they see the robber now. Oh no, she's clever. Look how she made sure the doors are locked. But wait, go and do your shopping. Come back. You're going to place your items that you've bought in the boot next to your laptop or your electronic equipment. You're going to close the boot. Robbers now say to themselves, They know that very, very few people in South Africa actually lock car doors themselves. You rely on the vehicle doing it for you. You know, you
Correct.
drive 50 meters, the doors lock, or you go
Yeah.
over 30 kilometers an hour. That's where
Uh-huh.
they now actually perform the jamming in the reverse also. So it's not just the case of you climbing out, make double sure the doors are locked. When you
Wow.
climb in your vehicle now, press the button. If you now press the button and you see the door's not locking, so it's not adhering to your command, switch off your
Mhm.
motor vehicle, open the car door, close the car door, slowly count to 10, and then start again. Let the computer inside the vehicle reset. How the robbers operate is, if you're already inside your motor vehicle and they're thinking of doing reverse jamming, as we say, they won't
Mhm.
jam you now for more than about 40 seconds. The robber says, if I jam you for too long, you might realize there's something wrong and call
Yeah.
security. We don't want that. We want you to think it's just a computer glitch and off you go, because Mr.
Right.
Fast Asleep is going to take your spot now, and he's got a
Mhm.
nicer laptop than you. So when you stop your car, check, listen if the door's locked. You sure now?
Right.
When you come
Uh-huh.
back and you've placed stuff in the car, lock the door yourself. If you now press and you see it's not locking, don't panic. Switch
Mhm.
off, open the door, close the door, slowly count to 10, and then try again.
There we go. Switch off, open your door, count to 10,
Yeah, that's it.
and start
That's
again.
it.
Any other steps that we car owners can actually take in order to protect ourselves from remote jamming? And also, are there any devices or tools like, people put on those steering locks, or so you'll see sometimes people are clamping their wheels? Look at the times we're living in, which is so
Yeah.
sad.
You know, I always laugh at the youngsters, the millennials. They say, "Oh, yeah, in your days you had steering lock and gorilla locks, and you remember the lock that went over the gear lever." Today's criminal does not like that. He likes new
Mm,
technology. A car's basically become a computer on wheels. So the new criminal that doesn't use a gun to actually perform a hijacking, they like technology. So I like the old gear lock. Go there to your father, to your mom. Go in the cupboard somewhere. You'll find the gear lock, the steering wheel lock.
inherited
The,
from
rob,
them.
the,
Yeah.
the robber tends to say, I don't like. It's a question of not stopping the crime, but you shift the crime to
Delaying
someone
it.
else. It sounds
Oh.
terrible when I talk that way, but we live in
Mm,
South Africa. You don't stop crime, you shift it to someone else. I'm sorry for the person you are shifting it to, but it's time they wake up and they shift it even further. There are
absolutely.
devices, it's
Mhm.
mostly linked to your tracking device that actually warns you on the phone. You've entered a jamming, they'll pick up a signal and they'll warn you. So you can obtain. And the best is phone your security company, phone your tracking company. It can be added to your tracking system where it will warn you you've moved into a jamming area and we pick up a jamming signal. It can warn you.
Okay.
So there are devices for a small fee that you can obtain. Yes.
Well, that's wonderful, and everything
Mm,
will just get the notification
correct.
on our phone,
Correct.
so
Yes.
that's great. Now, I think sadly, there's like no recourse when crime happens, but let's chat about the legal implications. Are there any legal implications for those that actually conduct this kind of crime? What if they are caught? Firstly, that's the most important part, if they are caught. And how are law enforcement agencies and car manufacturers actually responding to this issue?
If the criminal is caught, it is a normal theft case. There was no armed robbery. There was no violence, done towards the driver of the vehicle. So it's a basic theft case. From a
Right.
from a legal point of view, the chances of prosecution, yes, it is there, but it's a very small sentence. We must
Mm-hmm.
always look at the security companies. If we did not have security companies and police community forums, South Africa would have been in a 10 times worse place than what it is now. The police can't be everywhere. Yes, I know a lot of people don't have faith in the police, but it's the only police force we have. There's nice big inroads in KZN with your fantastic police commissioner doing excellent work, but you can only do so much. So you know what? A lot of times you'll go to the malls and you'll see the little board, be careful, car jamming, but people ignore that.
Yeah,
We as
'cause you
community
don't have
also
security.
have to do something. What from an
Yeah.
insurance point of view, the insurance says if there was entrance in your vehicle, let's say somebody opened the boot via car jamming or removed a laptop bag behind your car seat, they opened the door, and you
Right.
cannot prove forced entry, they will not pay out,
Mm.
depending on the circumstances.
Wow.
Remember, every case has got its own merit. The insurance company says car jamming has been going on for so many years. You should have known about this. It's the same as relay attacks. It's a very new thing in South Africa, but give South Africa another 5 years, and the insurance company is going to say, you should have known about this. What steps have you taken to prevent this? From an insurance company, you must also look at their side. They are losing millions every year. So from their side, we also have to do something. And if you didn't do those things, you must have a tracking device. I didn't have one. They refused. So it's a gray area, a lot of people say insurance companies look for reasons not to pay out. No, that is not always right. Every case has got its own merit. But from a legal
Correct.
point of view, the law now, or not law, the regulations state you must have made sure the doors are locked.
We have to be vigilant. It's so important.
Correct.
The onus is on us, sadly. And, we
Correct.
can understand from the insurance companies, because if we just become blatant and unobservant and just continue, then, the level of crime is going to
Correct.
escalate. But once you have a shocker, so to say, you go to your vehicle, something is missing, you take your extra precautions. But it's sad, it's how it's happening. And it's almost like, what happened? Did I fall asleep? Did I have amnesia? That's how quick it's becoming. And the cops
Correct.
themselves are saying it's not like the old mamparas or paras, so to say. They're now very sophisticated in how they're
Correct.
conducting
Correct.
crime. You won't even know. And I've watched a video of a car being stolen, hijacked, and it was such a smooth operation. Looking at it within 5 minutes, and you would just think, because these guys put up in a very fancy vehicle themselves, well dressed, and you think they're probably fixing their own car. And who are you to go and do anything? You can't
Correct.
pry in people's lives. Next thing, it was actually stolen. So, Richard, as we wrap up, do you see the car remote jamming evolving in the future? Like, can you perhaps say a trend that probably there's emerging technologies that might make it a bit easier or perhaps harder? And also, what role does the increasing use of smart and connected cars play in the risk of remote jamming?
I must say, remote jamming in future, it will become a little bit more difficult for the robber because technology evolves from the manufacturer. But in saying that, South Africa has been flooded by the Chinese market and the lower end vehicles because it's difficult to make ends meet nowadays. So people are scaling down. Now, the problem with scaling down is, yes, you are going to pay less, but the security effect in that, it's like relay attacks, where your car key constantly pulses out a signal. And you can talk till you're blue in the face. How much effort is it for the listener to get one of these little pouches? It costs now 99 Rand for two. Place your key inside, and the signal cannot be relayed out, where the robber can intercept the signal and relay it back to your car. You talk about a video that you saw. The other day, I had a young man. He had the necessary equipment. He actually tried to steal my bakkie. It was a stage Ford Ranger Raptor bakkie. It took him
Mm-hmm.
6 seconds, and he started my vehicle. So, you lock, it's end of the month. Everybody's talking, everybody's excited. You climb out of the car, you make sure it's locked, and off you go with the family. That
Yeah.
key of yours constantly pulses out a signal. They just come walk behind you with a relay amplifying device, intercept the signal. Most important, the unique code of your car. What frequency? 433. They send it back to it amplifies, gets sent back to a second individual with a receiver. That receiver picks up the signal, but it captures the unique code. They go back to
Oh,
your car, the button. Your car doesn't know any better. Your car thinks it's my code. They're telling me to open. All right, open. Start the car. Off they go. Disable the
wow.
key. Go to the dealership. It's easy. It's the press of a couple of buttons. But once again, 99 Rand. 99 Rand for two. But your car's worth how much? But we complain. Get the little bag. Put the key inside.
Right.
People
Yes.
walk up and down the escalators every weekend. That little
Mhm.
girl that comes behind you and taps. Oh, sorry, uncle. Yes, the tap could be the tap and go machine against your wallet as you're going up and down the escalator. Put your keys inside, your bank cards. It can't be small things. We can make a big difference, not to
We
stop, but to shift it to someone else.
To shift it, absolutely. It's so important that we be proactive. We have so much to chat with you about. Hopefully, we'll connect with you in future segments. But as we quickly wrap up, what advice do you have if somebody does suspect that perhaps they're being followed by somebody that's trying to remote jam them, or they're just feeling unsafe?
You know what? If you think there is remote jamming, firstly, your first objective now is make sure the item that you have or trying to protect is safe, and then notify the security company. Make noise, draw
Yeah,
attention to yourself. You want the
right.
robber to say, you know what, this mall is becoming a
Mm,
problem. The people are wake up. But if I go 2 kilometers down the road, those guys are still fast asleep. It's as simple as that.
right. Simple as that.
The listeners can go on social media. A National Hijack Prevention Academy. I've made little 1.5 minute videos that you can watch around hijacking. I'm at the mall. Suddenly there's gunshots being fired. What do I do with my family? I come across a cash and transit robbery. What do I do inside the car? Because South Africans won't drive away. They're scared they're going to miss out on money that's going to be left behind for them. So just go and watch. Something might just stick and it can save a life.
So important. I mean, who would have thought that this is a new subject we need to study? But as you said, save the lives, so important. A message comes through from Sister Nazima. She says, my cousin was hijacked and then burnt. So sorry to hear that. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Richard, been wonderful connecting with you. Thank you so much for that very valuable advice. I think it's so important for urban women to know all of this, to be vigilant, to be aware, and definitely knowledge is power. But we look forward to connecting with you and you sharing with us more tips in order for us to stay safe. But until then, you stay safe as well and have yourself a fabulous day. Bye for now.
Oh my gosh.
And that was Richard Brussow chatting with us about car remote jamming. Very important topic, something that is becoming common. You probably think it won't happen to you, but hey, you heard how quick, how easily it can be done. May Allah Azza wa Jal keep us all safe. Remember, as per the teachings of our beautiful Deen, tie your camel and have tawakkul in Allah Azza wa Jal. So take all your precautions, recite your ayat kursi. Also, Allahumma kfinihim bima sha't. Recite that if you feel that you're being followed or there's some bad energy kind of following you and you're feeling unsafe. Very powerful dua. Our deen is amazing. And tawakkul. Time for a quick break, and then I've got to wrap up my show. Positive vibes with Razia Rangrage.